Welcome to VocaTales, where stories meet calm English listening. Sit back, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy today's story. When I woke up that morning, the city felt quieter than usual. Maybe it was because of the rain that had fallen all night. The sound of water dripping from the rooftops still lingered in the air, like a song that didn't want to end. I sat by my window with a cup of warm tea. The streets were wet, shining faintly under the pale sunlight. A small bird landed on the balcony rail, shook its feathers, and flew away again. And for the first time in a long while, I felt an urge to go somewhere green, quiet, and alive. I packed lightly. A notebook, a pen, my camera, and a change of clothes. I didn't have a clear plan, just a train ticket to a small village up north. Sometimes the best journeys start without knowing exactly where you'll end up. The train moved slowly out of the city. Through the window, I watched tall buildings fade into distant shapes, replaced by fields of green and the slow dance of mist over the hills. The sound of the wheels on the tracks was steady, comforting, like a heartbeat reminding me that time was still moving, even when I wasn't rushing anymore. A kind old woman sat across from me. She smiled when our eyes met and said, "You're going far." "Just far enough to breathe," I answered with a smile. She laughed softly. "That's the best kind of trip." We talked for a while about the weather, the food in her village, and how the rain always seems to make people more honest. There was something peaceful about her presence, like she had already found the calm that I was still looking for. When the train stopped, I stepped down onto the small station platform. The air smelled different, fresh, earthy, filled with life. The village was quiet, surrounded by tall trees and the sound of a nearby stream. I followed a narrow dirt road that led to a wooden guest house at the edge of the forest. The owner greeted me with a warm smile. "You came alone?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "Just me and my thoughts," she chuckled. "Well, thoughts need space too. You'll find plenty here." That night I sat outside under the soft hum of crickets. The stars looked closer than they ever did in the city. I could hear the river in the distance, whispering softly as it passed over stones and roots. And for the first time in months, I felt completely still. The next morning, I started walking into the forest. The sunlight filtered through the leaves, painting the ground with shades of gold and green. Every step felt lighter, as if the earth itself was helping me move forward. I didn't speak. I didn't need to. Nature was doing the talking. The rustling leaves, the singing birds, the quiet rhythm of the wind. I stopped by a small stream, sat on a rock, and dipped my hands into the cold water. It was pure, clear, and full of movement. I watched a fallen leaf float by and thought, maybe that's what I need to be, light enough to flow even when I don't know where the river goes. As the hours passed, I wrote small notes in my journal, not about what I saw, but about what I felt. Peace is not the absence of noise. It's the presence of balance. Sometimes silence is not empty. It's full of truth. Each line felt like a seed planted in my heart, waiting to grow later when I was ready to understand it. That afternoon, clouds started to gather again. Raindrops touched the leaves soft and slow. I opened my umbrella but then closed it again, because the rain felt kind, like a friend I hadn't seen in years. I walked under the gentle drizzle, my footsteps mixing with the rhythm of falling drops. Every sound, every scent, every breath reminded me that I was part of something bigger, something alive. By evening, I reached the edge of the forest and saw a small open field. Mist rose slowly from the grass, wrapping the trees in silver light. I sat down, took a deep breath, and realized how far I'd come, not just in distance, but in peace. That night, I wrote my last entry for the trip. Maybe we don't travel to escape life. Maybe we travel to remember how beautiful it can be. The next morning, I took the early bus back to the city. As we drove down the mountain roads, I watched the forest fade into the mist behind me. The air changed again, warmer, busier, filled with the familiar noise of city life. But something inside me had changed too. When I stepped off the bus, the same streets looked different. The noise didn't bother me. The people rushing around didn't make me anxious. I smiled, realizing that peace wasn't something I had to find out there. It was something I carried back with me. I went home, made a cup of tea, and opened my window again. The same city, the same view, but now it felt lighter. And as I watched the clouds drift by, I whispered softly to myself, "Into the green I went, and back again I came." Not the same, but more whole than before.